Welcome back, everyone, to
Hello.
Steve's Lost again.
Yes, welcome back to Steve tries to figure out where the fuck to go, where Patrick tries to decipher his cryptic notes he made. So everyone, welcome back to another just classic, all-time, Emmy Award-winning Netflix Binge and Purge series.
I found my way.
Oh, fuck. Well, alright. Patrick's Netflix Binge and Purge. Today, we're talking about something that I won't say yet for Steven. I'm lying. You can see it right in the title right now, right, Steve?
Yeah.
So tell me what it is.
I can see into the future.
Tell me what it is, Steve.
Neo Yokio Part 2.
Exactly. Neo Yokio 2. Altered Carbon. So, what is Altered Carbon? Altered Carbon is a cyberpunk-esque mystery. You know, it takes place in the year 23. Who gives a shit?
Is it a mystery of how popular the genre is?
I mean, I didn't think... Is the genre popular?
Decently.
Okay. So, yeah, no.
I found skin fragments.
What?
Of the map guy.
Okay. And anyways, let me just jump right into Altered Carbon. So, we first meet our protagonist, Takeshi Kovacs.
Takeshi, okay.
Takeshi, yeah.
That's
also
an
known
easy
as,
name for me.
Also known as Tak.
Taka?
No.
I'm going for Taka.
Don't. So, Tak is first seen in a hotel with a hooker. I'm still not entirely sure what the first scene of this what this Netflix series was about. But basically, him and this girl are in a room together. It looks like they just banged. And then all of a sudden, CTAC officers come and shoot them up, basically. And CTAC...
For having sex, or...?
Yeah, basically. No. So they are basically rebels. He is known as an envoy, which I'll get to in a bit. But he was arrested for a shootout, and he was put on ice for 250 years. He wakes up in a white man's body, and because that's what you can do here in this newfangled fancy world they live in.
You can be born white.
Yes, everyone can be born white now. No. So, basically, in this world, you are not your body. Your body is what's known as a sleeve. You are your stack. Your stack is basically a chip that has your mind and soul in it, and it's implanted in the back of a neck of a body. So basically, that means that your mind and soul can be placed inside whatever body you want. And they basically resurrected him from being put on ice to become the bitch of this... Okay, good job. The bitch of this guy... the bitch of this guy named Lawrence Bancroft, who's a meth.
A meth.
A meth, also known as... it's short for Methuselah, basically because they're rich enough to afford infinite numbers of sleeves.
Okay,
and Methuselah was a Greek god or something, Greek figure, known because he lived to be like 1,000 years old. So yeah,
I get this.
Yeah, so the meths are basically the rich, the upper class, the bourgeoisie, as was known, who basically live above the clouds to get away from the riffraff of modern-day San Francisco, which has grown to be just a giant shithole.
Or San Francisco.
Yeah.
I never cared for you.
So, Lawrence Bancroft was murdered, almost perfectly.
And then he was frozen for 200 years.
No.
Oh, wait, no, that's...
See, the rich also have backup programs, and they almost perfectly destroyed his backup program, but just not quite. So basically, he's resurrected, and Takeshi-san is that, like, I need you to investigate my murder. And you see, the thing with Tak is that he spent most of his life fighting against these people, so he basically told him to fuck off. And he's gonna spend one last day going on a crazy drug bender, and then before going back on ice forever. So basically, in the middle of that, he comes into some drug dealer on the street, and he's just like, "Hey there, do you want any kind of drugs?" And then he just goes listing off random names of drugs, and he just says, "Oh yeah, I'll take it all." And then he does, and then he just takes it all, and then he goes on a drugged up bender throughout the streets of modern day San Francisco,
and then
or futuristic San Francisco.
Dies of an overdose.
No. So basically, there's this girl who I know, I hate this part. There's this girl who flew him, and she is very interested in his case because not often is someone taken off ice by a rich person. So she basically wants to go and talk to her, and they meet up and go to a strip club together to talk things out. He then basically tells her to go fuck herself and decides to go and hit up a nice hotel. A hotel which apparently hasn't had a customer in 50 years.
How is it open?
Because it's an AI hotel. And I guess it's unethical or something to destroy the hotel because it's alive, kind of. I don't know. It's one of those things like the ethics of future society that we don't quite understand in our primitive era.
So I can literally marry a fucking building.
I don't know. Maybe in Altered Carbon you could. But basically, the name of the place is called The Raven. And the brain of the place is a man named Poe. Are you seeing any kind of like...
I was thinking that when you said Raven, I'm like, huh.
And like... this is where the similarities between Edgar Allan Poe and the story end. Because Edgar Allan Poe is just a really happy, jovial dude in this whole series. And I loved him. He was like, hello, sir, can I get you anything today? And basically, the end of episode 1 ends with some Russian guy holding him up at gunpoint and basically saying, like, you will die now. And then the hotel goes into murder mode and completely murders him. It's like... Is my guest happy? Is my first guest in 50 years happy? It's like, yeah, thanks a lot, Poe. No problem. Your hookers are upstairs. It's like, all right, thanks. End of episode 1. I will say right off the bat, one weird thing about this show is it's the most racially diverse cast I've seen since I watched Glow a couple months back. And everyone knows 2 languages. Actually, everybody knows infinity languages and speaks 2 languages. So basically, the driver I was telling you about is also a member of the police, and she's Mexican, so she speaks fluent Spanish. And her police mate is Arabic, is Muslim. Speaks fluent. Muslim? Yeah, speaks fluent. Well, fuck. Is it Arabic?
I think. Oh, that's right.
The quite a visit, surprise, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, so... And they just keep talking back and forth to each other in these different languages, and everybody just kind of understands each other. I was like, alright, it's a little weird, I guess, but we'll go into it. So another thing you'll notice about midway through episode 2 is that there is a lot of nudity in this show. Which gets
I don't think it was enough.
Which gets a big old thumbs up from me. I mean, it's got more than any other show I have ever watched.
Combined?
What?
Combined?
Actually, yes.
Okay, good.
I think I might put money on that thought. Let's see, yeah. Oh yeah, so in part of episode 2, we learn about the AI's backstory. He meets up with other AI buddies in poker nights, which is really funny. And there's this really deep voice guy who's the AI for a strip club. It's like, I don't understand what you love about the humans, Poe. It's like, they're fascinating creatures. And you start to love Poe a lot more and more once you realize, like, he's the only AI who actually gives a shit about people in the slightest. So it's like, good for you, Poe, I like you.
Is he gonna die?
I will not choose to answer because he is an AI, so my answer is no, because AIs can't die. But my answer might be yes later on. Okay. We'll get to it.
I'm gonna say, like, it feels right for, like, everyone's favorite character to just, die randomly.
I didn't say he was everyone's favorite character.
He's gonna be everyone's favorite character.
I mean, he does bring an era of happiness, while Takeshi-san is just being a complete dick the whole time. Let's see. Okay, what do we
He just wants to get high one last time.
So then, he's in oh yeah, right, at the end of episode 1, he agrees to investigate the murder case. So he starts investigating all of the death threats that the dude got. So he does like, okay, show me these death threats that are both, the person is still alive, are decently recent, and they have like military experience. So he ends up tracking down this one guy, and then he basically finds the serial number on his gun and goes and confronts him. And he keeps saying, like, it wasn't me who sent that, it wasn't me who sent that. It's like, it's a serial number, you dumb fuck. You might as well have written your name on it. And then he starts getting in this big fight out with this one dude before going into his trippy vibe he's got.
He has the vibe?
He has the vibe in this show. And he basically goes in and he starts to notice just this girl on the ground that looks like she's being psychotically tortured. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, that's my daughter. It's like, she's in a time loop, dumbass. She keeps getting tortured over and over and over again. And basically, he keeps trying to get in fights with Takeshi, but he just can't beat Takeshi. So he keeps like getting knocked unconscious and then woken up in more and progressively more and more tied up scenarios. The last of which is he's duct taped to a sofa. Which
So he's duct taped to a sofa, and does anything come from that, or like is it
what do you mean?
like is there anything else in there, or does he just break free somehow?
No, I believe he just leaves at one point, leaving him tied onto there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really about it. So, yeah, he goes to his place and he determines that guy is not the murderer. Let's see, and then he goes and he notices he's walking around a museum because he notices the museum is set up to show the envoy terrorists. So he's going for, nostalgic memories. He's like, look at, they're all my envoy friends. Even though, like, everyone else is like, my god, look at these disgusting envoy, like, terrorists trying to overthrow our way of life. And, hilariously, he runs into this random 8-year-old girl. And,
8-year-old girl?
Yeah, and she's just gossiping. It's like, I want to hang out with you. I don't like hanging out with her there. Morgan's there, and she's such a bitch. And he's just like, what the fuck?
Who's Morgan?
It doesn't matter at all.
Oh, okay.
It's just some random girl who shows up, and he basically tells her to go screw off, and then walks away. It's like, all your friends will die. You're better off not having any. And she's just like, what?
Okay, I got another power already.
Mm-hmm. So then afterwards, he takes a trip to a nice little strip club called Jack It Off, where he runs into a stripper and basically lies and says that he is he lies and says that he's basically someone who he's not because, he's in his sleeve. It's like, no, it's just me in a different sleeve. Blah, blah, blah. In order to get her trust and learn information, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever got this power, actually. I think this is something I never found.
Yeah, you just, go infinite.
Achoo!
Bless you.
Achoo! Thank you so much. And then after he gets the information, he goes back home, and then Lawrence Bancroft's wife, Miriam Bancroft, shows up and fucks him.
Okay, some more sex.
Yeah, just sort of from whatever. And she's talking about it's like, I had this sleeve made, so I secrete this pheromone whenever I'm turned on. It's in my saliva, it's in my sweat, it's in my cunt. And I was just like, lady, that is not. It's like, I guess that's the right way to turn on Takeshi Kovacs, but was not doing anything for me. Let's see. Okay. Ooh. All right. So we're at the 12-minute mark already, and I just finished episode 2.
Out of
10.
Okay.
It's okay. After a while, I started shortening up them, so I only said like the most important parts. So let's get right on over to episode 3.
You want to go, buddy?
Where he goes back. He goes back to Soldier Dude that he duct taped up and recruited him for his help.
Okay.
He has a lot of military expertise, and he needed him to watch his back while he goes to this fancy bourgeoisie party. And the man set this party up and invited only people who thinks want him dead. Which is just a great idea for a party.
So everyone that wants him dead.
Yes, but first off, they get ammunition, and they meet another one of my favorite guys, even though you only see him for one scene. He's an arms dealer, and he's like, how good is this stuff that you're giving me? And he just shoots and fires at the soldier guy, and he just ducks out of the way. It's like, wow, that works really good. It's like, he just shot at me. It's like, yeah, to prove his product worked. I'll take it. It's like, very good. It's like, man, that's quite the business tactic there. Let's see. That never ends up actually becoming relevant, which is kind of weird. But, alright, whatever. We'll just move on from that.
Okay.
I have a lot of points, which I'm reading back later on. It's like, they never actually brought up some deeper implications into that. But whatever. So I guess they brought up how fucked up, the upper class are. They've become so jaded, and the idea of sleeves has become a thing, so they just make people fight to the sleeve death, as it's called. See, there are 2 types of death in the world now. Sleeve death and real death. And people lose their minds over real death, even more than they currently do. It's like, do you have any idea what it's like to actually
fuck!
Whoa! I had no idea that was a thing. Aww.
I forgot about it.
That's sad.
I was like, wow, that one was an easy one to get.
Okay. A whole bunch of stuff happens, and then basically they... See, Altered Carbon, I think, does a pretty good job at exploring,
unique.
Yeah, weird stuff that happens as a consequence of, like, the sleeve like a sleeve death and stuff like that. You know, the upper class causing like fights to the death because it's not like to the real death and stuff like that. But yeah, basically that means a lot of episodes have stuff that don't matter to the overall plot, so I'm basically just going to be talking a lot about what's going on with the overall plot. So then he goes back to, I know, I was watching. He goes back to Jack It Off in order to get more information, and the girl just, the girl just kind of acts as a distraction, basically, and causes, Takeshi-san to get knocked out.
Oh, yeah, there's probably nothing here, actually.
Yeah, a new Russian guy comes and knocks Tak out.
Okay.
Because Tak real deathed his brother.
Aww.
Yes, that scene at the beginning that I was telling you about with the Russian getting shot up at the hotel, he got real deathed, as they call it. So now, he goes into what is known as mental interrogation. And this isn't like your normal torture, where once you die, it's over. Oh, no, Steven. So basically, torture has evolved too as a concept of all of these, what am I trying to say? Advances in stacking technology where you can just keep killing the person over and over and over again in just an endless amount of ways.
Yeah, okay.
Because they can just be brought right back to life and tortured once again. Especially in virtual, as they call it.
Yeah, I want to just bring this up at the game. I found a key, I gave it to the shopkeeper, and he gave me more items to buy. So I need to grind a little bit to get to 800. So,
okay.
So go ahead and keep going.
Yeah, so again, this isn't really relevant to the overall plot, but it's a very funny scene that I wanted to bring up. So, the Mexican detective and her Mexican family celebrate Dia de los Muertos. You know, the Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead.
Classic Mexican holiday, if you guys, if someone doesn't know.
The holiday that they based off Grim Fandango.
And, basically, so her family are neo-Catholics, which in this world basically means they don't like people getting re-sleeved. They think it's like a
against God's will.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can.
So
understand
what she does is every Day of the Dead she brings back her grandma in some different sleeve, and this year she just kind of scooped up some random dude, some random convict off the street. So it's this incredibly sweet Mexican grandmother implanted in this guy. He's got a nose ring. He's got like 700 different tattoos, and it's just like, oh, hello everyone, and it's just like, Grandma? It's like, oh, it's like, Mom? Oh, Miss, you act, it's like, oh, I forget her name. It's like, you act like you've never seen a tattoo before. And just walks in and starts talking with everyone. And it's like, first off, I don't like her being put in a new sleeve at all. But you couldn't have found something better than that? It's like, Mom, don't be rude. So basically, her grandma spends all the Day of the Dead with her family. And their grandma basically asks, like, please don't, bring me back next year for next Day of the Dead, and it's really emotional, but I can't really get the point across when I'm trying to expedite the whole story. Yeah. So, moving on.
Oh, look, he's sparkling! Yay.
Yeah, so moving on, eventually, he ends up breaking out of virtual by remembering his virtual training. Stop it! I get it, you like me. And he breaks out of virtual, and then he ends up. There's a great scene where it's him and a girl. Her name is Kel. She was the leader of the Kelcrest Falconers, which was the Envoy organization. And basically, he sees her, and in virtual, he literally reaches into his chest and pulls his heart out and gives it to her. It's like, this is for you. And he then proceeds to shoot up this entire lab because there's an entire organization based off this virtual torture. So he goes around and just completely murders everyone in this entire lab. And something I didn't mention back in episode 1, when he bought the drugs were in a pink rainbow unicorn backpack. And he's just chosen to keep this backpack with him.
Was he just wearing it the entire series?
Mostly, yes.
Okay.
When he has to go everywhere, he has this pink rainbow unicorn backpack on. He has guns stored in it. So he's shooting up hundreds of people in this establishment while he's wearing this backpack. And it's pretty fucking hilarious the whole time.
So maybe that one.
Okay. End episode 4. Hopping into episode 5. Basically, at this point, the investigation is ongoing, and Lawrence Bang and Miriam Bancroft wants him to stop investigating the case. So basically what his wife does is he says, like, I have a secret island that even my husband doesn't know about where I have infinite copies of me. So if you stop this, I will pay for your trip and you will live on that island forever having infinite amounts of sex with me. I was like, wow, good freaking deal. And then he ends up denying it and going back to working on the case. Where now he needs to figure out another mystery. Why was the Russian man torturing him calling him Riker? Because
From Star Trek?
From Altered Carbon.
Yeah, okay.
Basically the same thing. Yeah, basically he's confused. It's like, it's weird because they kept calling me Riker and I need to figure out what the fuck Riker is. And it turns out Riker is Mexican police girl's ex-boyfriend. Well, not even ex, just boyfriend who ends up getting de-sleeved, who they put Tok's stack into. So that's why Mexican police girl was so interested in him this whole time, was because he was wearing her boyfriend's sleeve.
That's a little fucked up.
Yep. Yeah,
Did they bang at least?
Well, Steven, one of my points later on is they bang, so I'm gonna give a little spoilers. Yeah, they bang.
Okay.
But anyways,
That's fucked up.
Bancroft dies for the poor. Yeah, he goes and visits the poor, but the poor have been infected with some sort of virus, so he ends up dying a horrible death in front of them, but it's okay because he's backed up. Let's see. Okay. So then, Police Girl and Tok, Ortega. Yeah, Ortega and Tok end up going to basically what is a fight club, which they're told has video footage of Bancroft being there. And I guess something I forgot to mention this whole time is that Bancroft can't remember the last, 4 hours of his life because something fucked up with the backup. So they need to go and investigate what happened in these last 4 hours of his life. So they go and they find the footage of Bancroft at the fight club. And basically it's him beating his son to death. But it's okay because it's only sleep death. Remember? It's not real death. So, yeah, they're just like, why was he beating his son to sleep death? I mean, he's very disappointed in his son Isaac, who in this series is about as effective as Isaac in our Let's Play series of Isaac, because he's a little bitch who cries as a weapon. But yeah, then they're noticing, it's like, alright, so he doesn't like his son Isaac for some reason, well, because they're babying him, but that seemed a little extreme to kill him because of that. And, let's see. Oh yeah, so then the interrogator that they killed, they found out that there's some connection between Riker getting de-sleeved and the Bancroft murder, right?
Yeah.
So what they do is they end up putting the interrogator that was torturing him into the same body that they put Grandma into.
Why?
So this guy's seeing a lot of screen time. I don't know. I don't even know what happened to the dude's stack. This is what happened to Street Dude's stack that they brought in. So yeah, they end up torturing him, and then not torturing exactly, but they're going to give him information. So they go onto an elevator, and there's this random Japanese guy in the elevator, a Japanese policeman, and he's been hinted at weirdly.
You want to come, buddy? Okay, thank you.
He's been hinted at kind of strangely throughout the whole thing, because he has the power to not appear on any
Tracker.
any tracker, any kind of video camera. He's known as the Ghost Walker, basically. And yeah, so he shows up and basically he turns on the cops in the middle of the elevator in order to help Russian Dude escape, because apparently he was on Russian Dude's side. Why? We'll figure out in a couple of episodes. But basically, Ortega loses Abood, which is her Middle Eastern accomplice, Middle Eastern cop buddy. You know, he gets real death because he gets shot in the back of the neck.
Is that how you get real death? Shot in the back of the neck?
Yeah, you got to kill your stack, and
okay.
Yeah, because your stack is you. Your body doesn't matter that much. So yeah, you shoot him in the back of the neck where the stack is. If the stack dies, you die for real. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Episode 6. Tok/Riker. I mean, it's still Tok, but in Riker's body. They go and visit Ortega in the hospital because she got quite a fucking beating from that elevator scene where a cop and a big fat Russian man beat the shit out of her and killed her teammate.
Yeah.
So they end up going to a secret area, and they end up finding out that Isaac has been skinning in Lauren's body. His pussy son has been skinning up in him and been doing business deals behind his back.
Yeah, okay.
And Bancroft found out about that, and that's why he was so pissed at Isaac.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're not me and you never will be, blah, 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 blah. So basically, they end up coming to the conclusion that the son is the killer. So they come to this information with the dad, and then they see how much of a pussy he is, and he's just like, no, this guy's definitely not the killer. It's like, all I ever wanted to do was make you proud of me, Dad. So the dad gets a golf club, or not a golf club, like a spoke for like a fire stoker.
And stabs him?
No. So basically, his mother and I think gay lover, they never go further into that, but I'm pretty sure, are defending him. But instead of beating the shit out of Isaac to death, he beats the shit out of his own body so Isaac can't take it back over again. And he's covered in blood and just walks up to Talk, and he's just like, thank you for the information, Talk. I really appreciated that. I look forward to your next progress report. Alright. Blah, blah, blah.
Alright, so I need to get there?
So then they end up getting kidnapped once more. This time by the owner of Fight Club, who is teamed up with Russian Man. And basically, the reason he teamed up was because he didn't want anyone to know that they actually film these Fight Club sessions. They sell it as, like, completely unknown. No one's ever going to see this, but he keeps videotapes of it.
Okay.
So, yeah, they put both Tak and Ortega in the Fight Club. And they end up doing really, really, really well until they almost end up dying. But then a ninja ends up busting in and killing almost everyone in the Fight Club in order to save Tak. And when she takes off her mask, you find out that the ninja is Tak's sister, Ray. There's a whole backstory about Ray. Basically, the backstory with that is he was taken away from his family because he killed their father because his father killed their mother. And it's like, we need to take you away from Ray. We'll make sure she has a good life. Apparently, she did not have that good of a life. And then they ended up finding each other again. And, yeah, there's a whole bunch of backstory to that, which, if you're interested in that, you basically can watch the series yourself. I'm skipping over a lot, just getting the main details out of the way.
Thank you.
Speaking of backstory, episode 7 is all backstory, so we're going to skip over most of it. The only thing that's interesting is, at the very end of episode 7... And here's where the big reveals start coming, so if you were interested in spoilers, first off, what the fuck have you been doing watching 27 minutes into this? But basically, stop watching now. It turns out that Ray, Tak's sister, is the one that sabotaged the mission to kill the envoy and get Tak put on ice. Because it looked like the envoy were taking Tak away from Ray. And basically, Ray's whole motivation is to get her brother back. 100% just like... family only, forget all of these people. And that's basically what we figure out in episode 7, aside from the bunch of backstory with, like, you know, them in, like, an envoy camp settlement, earning the trust of the envoy, blah, 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 blah. Alright. So, then, Ray is threatening to kill...
everyone?
Yes. Basically, everyone close to Tak. And how Tak needs to redeem himself is by... also, he doesn't want Lawrence Bancroft to find out the truth about the murder. Which we still don't know yet. But basically, he ends up framing a reporter for it. It's like, well, not kind of like a reporter / their assistant for the whole murder. So then he's like, okay, well, I guess that settles that. And how they end up doing this is he resurrects, not resurrects, he puts Soldier Guy, you know, his sidekick, he puts his wife's stack in the closest body. And the closest body is a man, which leads to a lot of hilarious scenes. It's like, I love you, baby. I love you, too. And it's just like a guy.
Anything interesting about the guy's features?
No, not really. Because, you know, like, the persona is... It's a woman who's a badass. So it's basically just like a guy who's acting like a badass.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, okay, I understand. Cool. Yeah, so his wife is apparently really good at hacking stuff. You know, she's the hackerman,
yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. The AI, Poe, ends up murdering one of his AI buddies. Well, not really buddies. He actually hates all of them. So he basically loses a round of gambling and hands him tainted chips, which kills him. So basically, all of this stuff beautifully comes together, and Ortega finds out where her cloning facility is. This Ray's cloning facility. Tok's sister. Asian ninja. And basically, she just keeps busting out. All of her naked clones keep busting out and getting shot by Ortega. Until, like, at the very end, she kills all of the clones and opens up a gate, and it's the 8-year-old girl from a few episodes ago. Because, actually, Ray has been a lot of people throughout this series just kind of spying on Tok.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and one of them was that 8-year-old girl I talked about a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, fuck Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle's a bitch. And she ends up, is like, she's locked me in here, I can't... It's like, and Ortega's like, oh, you poor thing. And so then Ray takes over Ortega, and then goes in and starts trying to seduce Tok in order to just like play games with him, basically. And then eventually he finds out. It's like, what did you do with Ortega? It's like, see, you shouldn't be worrying about this because I'm here now. And then ends up ordering Ghostwalker, Asian policeman, to kill all of Ortega's family.
Okay.
So yeah, all the whole Mexican family dies.
Aww.
So that's a little sad. Yeah, there's no twist to where like they keep them alive. No, they don't. They all die.
Okay. Suck.
Yep. And so this all comes to one big culmination at the end where Tok ends up telling Ray that he doesn't care at all and that he's just leaving her, where he then ends up going to Prostitute Island and living out the rest of his days banging Miriam Bancroft just infinite numbers of times.
I'm having a happy ending for the guy.
Except plot twist! That's not actually how it really goes down. See, there's a thing you can do called double sleeving, where it's basically just a clone of yourself and you're both alive at the same time.
So you're allowed to fuck yourself.
I mean, you're not even allowed to double sleeve. So, no, I'd say you're not allowed to fuck yourself. So, yeah, it's basically there are 2 stacks of him alive at this point, and he's convincing his sister that he's not around anymore. And then one of his clones goes off to Prostitute Island to live the rest of his days there. And it turns out, we're told in episode 1 that every single thing in the Lawrence Bancroft case points to suicide. And it's just, it doesn't add up. I wouldn't kill myself. And at the end of episode 9, we end up finding out everything we heard in episode 1 was the truth. It was just stuck in such like a complicated fuckery of the guy not knowing what happened in memory loss that he could not accept the fact
I know it.
He could not accept the fact that he killed himself. So basically, I'll just summarize the entire mystery and how it went down right here. You see, Ray is in charge of this particularly fucked up prostitution ring. It's called like Cloud 9 or Paradise or some shit like that. It's a flying prostitute ring. And basically, rich people can go in there and actually kill prostitutes without the prostitutes knowing. It's basically just like, yeah, no, don't worry, you can kill me all you want. They'll just bring us back. And they're just like, holy shit. This is the most fucked up thing. These prostitutes take jobs because they think they're getting paid well, and then they're just not. And
you got some fucked up people, fucked up fetishes.
Yeah, so basically they end up finding the hidden base where they're hacking into Cloud 9 as Tok is going through Cloud 9 looking for Ray. And they bust in and they end up shooting and killing a completely unimportant character who shows up a couple times, basically being Ortega's hacker friend. And basically how he dies is he tries to disarm a guard and fails and gets shot in the stack and gets real deathed.
Poor bastard.
And it's found out in one last ditch effort. So basically there's a lot of really cool epic scenes in the 10th episode that I just really can't get into. I really can't explain how cool it is. You just have to watch it for yourself. But basically at the end of it, Ray is begging Tok to come with her, saying like, I have Kel's stack. The leader of the envoy and his kind of lover. And it's like, if you come with me, I can help you get her back. But he ends up refusing at the end. and he ends up taking her down with the ship. And Ray ends up dying, but Tak does not. So they end up recovering the chip at his stack at the end of it, but then they end up talking, and he gets arrested. And it's like, yeah, we found out you've been double sleeved, so only one of your sleeves can survive.
Fibs.
Yeah, and they do this with rock, paper, scissors, and basically they're clones, so they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. I have no idea how it ends. They cut away before one of them eventually ends up like giving up, I guess.
Okay.
So
is there gonna be a second season? Do you know?
So I'll get to it extremely quickly because I'm already at the 35-minute mark. I told Steven I could probably have this done in 30 minutes. Whoopsie doopsie. Yeah, so at the end of it all, Lawrence gets arrested because basically he was a person who took place in this prostitution thing.
Yeah.
And he had her blackmailed. And yeah, it's like, I need you to first off you killed someone, and I need you to help me get this bill not passed. There's a whole subplot about like religious people being brought back to life. So you can have it encoded in you to not be brought back to life. But in the case of, like, murder, it's awkward. Because, like, we want to at least bring them back for, like, 20 seconds so they can testify against the guy who killed them.
Yeah.
But basically that was a bill that Lawrence Bancroft ended up helping not getting passed. Yep. And he was blackmailed into doing that. And he just realized, like, fuck, I'm a piece of shit. And then ends up actually killing himself. But then getting brought back and forgetting the past few hours of his life. Doesn't remember why he committed suicide, so he just assumed it was a murder. And that was the whole mystery that took 10 hours to get past. But then he ends up getting arrested for murder and real deathing him. Miriam ends up getting arrested for an entirely different subplot I didn't even get into at all. So, yeah, you can watch the series if you want to figure that one out. Yeah, so Isaac lost both his parents, and he's probably fucked, because there's another entire subplot of him being a little baby bitch, and who needs his parents. And, basically, the series ends with, Ryder's name getting cleared. Another subplot I didn't go too far into. Riker basically was accused of the murder of someone, and it turns out he didn't do it. And he ended up getting his name cleared. So Tak gives Riker's body back to him, and then he says, like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna leave. And it ends with him walking out the door, and on his quest searching for Kel. And basically, he has no idea where Kel is, but that's how the series ends, and I have another couple small points to make, so I guess this is a 40-minute episode of sorts.
You go for it.
I'm coming at this as a perspective of someone who's never watched something like Blade Runner. So I saw a lot of critics reviewing it saying it doesn't really do anything much that Blade Runner doesn't do. And they said, like, it doesn't really go into the moral ethics of, you know, like, sleeve death and that. I was like, yeah, it did. Like, the freaking, the rich command the poor to kill each other for their entertainment because it's sleeve death, not real death.
Yeah.
That seemed perfectly like it. It's like, maybe it's something that's already been done before, but I don't know. I never saw it, and I really thought it was cool.
I only saw, like, the first 10 minutes.
Alright.
Yeah.
As far as a second season goes, it's up in the air, honestly, because it's actually based on a book series. And there are 3 books in the series, and the second book has almost nothing to do with the first book, besides it still stars Takeshi Kovacs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we figure out which one lived, I'm guessing?
I don't know. I don't know if it even really matters that much. One of them went through an entire experience loving Ortega, and the other one just spent his life having orgies with Miriam Bancroft on an island. So, obviously, you kind of hope that the one that survived was the one that went through all the bullshit, but I don't think... I know at one point he said that he was that one, but they never, like, prove it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And if there is a Season 2, it's gonna probably have none of the original cast of Season 1, except if they keep doing flashbacks, they'll still have, like, the envoy actors.
Okay.
Yeah, so... Which is kind of sad because I kind of liked the actors of Season 1, but it does not look like they would be coming back if there was a Season 2, because from what I can tell, Season 2 is just him on Mars. Because, you know, we're in the future, like 2638 or some bullshit like that, so planet hopping is incredibly easy to do.
Yeah. Thank you, Elon, for the future.
Dude, did you hear Elon Musk has a goth girlfriend?
He does?
Yeah, man.
I'm glad someone loves him.
Yeah. He ended up meeting her because he was going to make a joke about how some AI is named after some 17th century goth architecture or some shit like that, but he found out that she already made the joke a couple months earlier, or a couple years earlier. So then I guess they bonded over that or some shit, which is just a perfect way for Elon Musk to get a girlfriend. Okay, yeah, but anyways, that is Altered Carbon. Just passing the 40-minute mark, I would give it a recommendation, because even if you heard me talk about this, there's still you heard me talk about the main plot. There's still actually quite a few subplots that are worth looking into. I don't know if you watched all of this. I don't know if now it's worth the 10-hour investment that I put into it. But personally, for the full experience, I was kind of glued to it the whole time. And I saw it only had a 63% on Rotten Tomato, which really shocked me. I thought very, very highly of this series, and I don't know, maybe if I had more of a knowledge of cyberpunk backing, this would not have been that cool for me. But I don't know, as somebody who went in with no expectations, literally just knowing it for the name, I enjoyed my time thoroughly. It was the most gory, most graphic. They showed open autopsy bodies. They showed straight up banging. I thought I swapped to a Pornhub tab for a second there in the middle. It's oh no, wait, this is actually just the show happening.
Alright, so final score.
Final score. If again, as I always say, I don't like giving scores, so don't think too hard about it. I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay. Good.
I have my problems with it, but they aren't big problems at all. I enjoyed my time a lot with it.
There's not enough sex scenes, right?
I mean, it's weird.
It's only 40% sex, right?
Oh, man. I mean, one of the central themes of it is a prostitution ring, so it might actually be more than 40%. Thank you all so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed my review of Altered Carbon, I have many, many more other reviews of other Netflix series, many of which are easily bingeable because there's one series. So if you're interested in that, just search up Netflix Binge and Purge. I'm sure you'll find the rest of them.
All right, Pat, the guy's fucking falling asleep.
We'll see you next time, everyone.